Hello, and welcome to the official CNU Study Abroad podcast, Boarding All Captains. Thank you for joining me on this week's podcast with Bryce.
Hi, thank you guys so much for having me.
Yeah, so to get started, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and where you went on your study abroad?
Awesome. So my name is Bryce. I'm currently a senior at the time of recording this. I'm a French major here at CNU, and I minor in linguistics, so I love languages. And I spent this past summer in the city of Pau in the south of France. It was fantastic. I mean, we did a large emphasis on language and culture and full immersion into the language, and it was great. So.
Great. Is there a favorite excursion that you went while you were there?
Oh, for sure. During my time there, we went deep into the Pyrenees Mountains to the Lac de Gaube, which was this beautiful, pristine, glacier-fed lake. And it was amazing. The 2-hour hike there maybe wasn't the best.
Yeah.
But definitely made some memories.
That was some good exercise,
Yo,
though.
for sure. Especially during the heat wave this past summer. Mm-hmm.
So how did you feel that studying abroad really helped with, your development in French?
Oh, yes. I mean, you reach a certain point here in the U.S. that you can't really excel anymore. Every day in my classes, I'm obviously learning so much. We have great professors here at CNU, but you really need that full immersion experience to truly expand your horizons. And I found that after my study abroad experience, I was dreaming in French and speaking
that's awesome.
so much more fluent. Yeah. It was just so much easier to get words out. I feel like that was always a barrier for me.
Right.
I know the words, I know the grammar, but just stringing them along.
Yeah, it's that really full immersion experience. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So did you have any friends that went with you when you studied abroad? Or how was that experience? How did you make friends while you were there?
Yeah, so we studied with the USAC program, so there were other American students there, and I went with 2 fellow CNU classmates. And we made friends with everybody there. It was a great group, lots of kids from Michigan and Tennessee, and everybody was super cool and super enthusiastic about the program. I will say one downside was being with a bunch of other Americans. People were inclined to speak English with each other.
Right.
So I kind of got a little annoyed, but I partook in that as well. So
that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, that part it was easier to speak English than French when you had those friends there. But what was your housing like while you were there?
So due to my food allergies, I chose not to do a homestay.
Okay.
Just because French people don't truly believe in food allergies.
Yeah.
So we had me and my friend Hannah, we had university housing.
Okay, very nice. What university was it at?
UPA. It's the University of Pau, basically.
Okay,
yep.
Cool.
Yeah. It was fantastic. I mean, having, hot water at disposal. Unlike some of my friends who did homestays, the families were very cautious about how much hot water they spent, how long they used everything. So it was cool, and it was also really nice not being tied down by a host family, because you have to go to certain events with them or have dinner with them at a certain time. We had true full liberty.
Yeah, that sounds really nice. Sounds like you had a lot of independence in that aspect.
Definitely.
Yeah. So what advice would you give to someone who's traveling to the same destination spot as you went to on your study abroad?
I would say that don't expect it to be like Paris.
Yeah.
I had a lot of friends and family who were like, oh, you're going to France, it's going to be great, the Eiffel Tower. And I'm like, first of all, I'm not going to Paris. Second of all, Paris is a very isolated section. Mm-hmm. The rest of France is truly so different. And so being in a small city deep in the countryside in the southwest of France was a very unique experience. And so I think a lot of people would stick their nose up to it and be like, oh, if I want to go to France, I'm going to go to Paris. I'm going to go to Marseille. But don't do that. I think, be open-minded and, choose to go to, a little town like that. And specifically with Pau, it was really unique. And being so close to the Spanish border, there were a lot of Spanish speakers. There were Basque speakers because we were technically in the Basque region. Not a lot of English speakers.
Yeah.
So
I'm sure that really pushed you to work on your French.
It really did,
and
yes.
Clearly you're dreaming in French. It worked. So we love that. So what was the biggest difference for you moving to France compared to living in Virginia?
I think one of the largest differences is coming from a small town here in Virginia, being gay wasn't always the easiest. But my time in France, Europe in general, is extremely gay-friendly. and the amount of like bars and clubs and acceptance over there, like I could truly be myself when I was studying abroad, and I made so many friends that way, going out and meeting people in the community, and it was a truly liberating feeling, because here in Virginia we don't have a lot of opportunities like that. Even in a city as large as, you know, Newport News, the Greater Hampton Roads area, there's just not a lot here for us. But being in France was truly great. The LGBTQ support is amazing.
What is one thing that you wish you packed and one thing you wish you didn't?
That is a fantastic question. I didn't expect for there to be a heat wave, so I packed a lot more clothes. I packed a lot of dress clothes because I thought, like, oh, I want to dress up really nice. Like if I go to a restaurant or something, take pictures. And first of all, the heat wave did not allow for that. But then secondly, like in the south of France, people are much more laid back than the Parisians. So it was fine to go casual everywhere, and I still got amazing pictures without like dressing up all fancy and everything.
Yeah.
And it took up a lot of space in my suitcase, so that was kind of a waste. Something I wish I had packed, maybe some more American-style toiletries.
Did you travel solo at all during your study abroad experience?
So, solo. We had a group excursion to the city of Toulouse, and I missed the train, like signing up for the train.
Yeah.
So I had to take the train by myself at like 6 o'clock in the morning, which was actually great. It was only €1 for like a round trip to Toulouse. Absolutely amazing. So I wandered around the city for like about 4 or 5 hours until the rest of the group got there. And then after that, me and my friend Hannah, we went together to the city of Carcassonne, just the two of us. And we like booked all of our own hostels and train tickets and everything. So that was about like as solo as it got.
Yeah, but that's still, it's nice for that independent part.
Oh, it was
your
great.
Day.
Our weekends were always completely open. And so they were like, oh, it's so easy to sign up for train tickets, to get a hostel, go anywhere that you want. So some kids went to Spain for the weekend. People went up to Bordeaux, Toulouse, Saint-Jean-de-Luz, all these great cities in the southwest of France.
So what was your favorite city that you went and visited outside of where you stayed?
Outside of the city of Pau, I would probably say Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port, which was this just beautiful little mountain town, like tucked away in a little valley, and it was a pilgrimage site during like the Middle Ages, and there were a couple castles there, and the people were just so warm and welcoming, and it wasn't like too touristy. It was like just the right amount. I really enjoyed being there. So
it's nice, very nice. How did academics differ for you abroad from CNU, and how did you balance that travel and academic side of studying abroad?
So the French academic system in general is just very different from the American style. I remember the first quiz we took, I got a 12 out of 20, and I was like, oh my gosh, I failed. And she was like, no, that's like an A+, you did really well. And I was like, oh, interesting. And higher education over there is more structured, but because it was a study abroad kind of geared towards Americans, it was a little bit different from that. But overall, our classes were very intense, but we never had homework, so that was really nice. All of our free time could truly be spent freely throughout the city without having to worry about projects or anything. But class time itself was much more intense than here in the States. A lot was demanded of you, especially because it was an immersion program. So, yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Were there any like trips that you had to go to? Because I know in my study abroad, like my teachers, they had me go explore something in the city. So like, was there anything like that for your classes, like assignment wise, that like were very immersive or?
So part of the USAC program, we did excursions everywhere, like to Lac de Gaume, to Toulouse, to Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port, and on those trips we always they pushed like full immersion on us, and they always tried to get us to like interact with locals and like go and order everything for ourselves and that kind of stuff. But within the actual city of Pau, outside of class, there wasn't anything.
That makes sense though. Yeah, I'm sure that helped.
But the free time was amazing.
Yeah.
That like having so much free time, allowing us to explore so much, I think was way more rewarding than extra classwork would have been.
Did you have a favorite restaurant or cafe or little spot that you would recommend somebody go to?
In Pau, there's Place Clemenceau is like the city center, and there's like a little walkway that goes to this massive like boulevard opening, and you can just oversee like the river and the Pyrenees Mountains all in the background, and it was absolutely gorgeous, completely surrounded by cafes and restaurants, and all the cafes and restaurants were just amazing. So
yeah, I love that.
Any specific one I can't recommend because they're all so good.
Right, but it's just the main. Yeah, I mean, French food is amazing. Did you get to try escargot?
I love escargot.
Yeah.
We did a cheese tasting. One of our classes, we did like a wine kind of unit. So then afterwards, like kind of off record, we had a wine tasting.
Yeah.
We did strawberry picking in the countryside, which was so much fun. The food was great. Leal, which is like the open air food markets, amazing, and everything was so cheap over in France.
Yeah.
I remember I was like looking at like lobster, and I could get like a full lobster for like €5.
Oh, lobster is actually my favorite food. So, I wish I was there right now. Was there a favorite French cuisine that you had besides you liked escargot?
The desserts. The desserts are to die for. I mean, you're in like the height of, gastronomie. It's like France is the epicenter of all culinary arts. And everything there was amazing. And although it's not truly French, the tiramisu was just, it was amazing. It was amazing.
Yeah. Just the croissants, having those.
The croissants, the chocolatine. Throughout the rest of France, it's called pain au chocolat, which is really like a fake name.
Yeah.
In the Southwest, they get it right, but the chocolatine, absolutely amazing. We had those every time we took an excursion somewhere. They always brought us fresh ones from the boulangerie, and it was great.
So, what was your biggest takeaway from studying abroad?
I would say truly the aspects of French culture. I mean, you can always like hear about those things from studying here in the U.S., but being fully immersed like that and learning the French way of life, it truly changed how I treat life here in the U.S. Especially now, I'm much more eco-friendly, but that's an overall European trend. So I've kind of started to change my life around that and like be more like, friendly towards the earth and that kind of stuff.
I love that. So you're a senior, and what are your plans for after graduation, and how did studying abroad help you get there?
So I have applied to the TPIF program, which allows American students to go over and teach English abroad in France. And I'm waiting to hear back from the embassy on whether or not I got the position, but I'm really excited about that. And study abroad, I had been thinking about joining TPIF prior to this, but study abroad really solidified my choice. Like I was like, I really want to spend at least like a year here or two. Get fully immersed, fully fluent in the French language and culture and stuff. And I love France so much. I can't wait to move back one day, hopefully permanently,
Yeah.
So.
Well, I love that. I love that, you were able to fully feel that you're very passionate about the French culture as your major is also French. And I love that studying abroad kind of helped you confirm that and confirmed that independence that you could live in another country for a few months and, do great. And now you want to move back there after you graduate. So I love that for you. So thank you so much for coming on Boarding All Captains. And I wish you the best as hopefully you move to France and start a job there. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.